So you may remember at the beginning of the year, in a video that I did, I think I was talking about a half dozen new things I was doing and they were related to stock music. Maybe they were related to some other things, but mostly related to stock music to try to move the needle a little bit in stock music. I was trying to do something more in stock other than just continuing with Motion Array and Audio Jungle and Pond 5 and the things I had done in 2021, some which had worked and Motion Array, which had really worked. But starting in January, Motion Array completely changed, as we all know. And so that really made me think, hey, you know what? I have to change the way I approach this a little bit. Now, I had changed it in two ways. Number one, I went out and found a bunch of new libraries on stock music to see how they would work. Number two, I decided to go ahead and experiment with Content ID. And we're going to talk about that today. And then number three, I also decided to really limit the amount of time that I spend on social media and especially on stock music and how much time I spend putting stuff out to stock because I was putting way more into it than I was getting out of it from a income perspective. And so that's why I decided that I drastically had to change the way I did stock. I had to find some other libraries. And so I did go and find some other libraries. I had heard about other libraries from people when I did a survey asking about what their top paying libraries were. And so I signed up with a few new libraries. One was called Jamendo. One was called The Music Case. One was called Infinity Music. Another one was called Music Bay. And then there was this other library that I saw and checked out with a funny name called Yummy Sounds. If I was able to edit this video, I would put in the clip from Young Frankenstein where they're sitting around the table and they're eating and they hear this, and the lady goes, "Oh, do you like it?" And he goes, "What?" She says, "Do you like the food?" And he goes, "I didn't say anything." And she said, "Yes, you made a yummy sound." And he goes, "Mmm." And they figure out it's the Frankenstein monster. But anyway, that would have been a funny clip. So that's the only thing I don't like about these live videos. I can't like insert clips in to those. Hey, Marty, thanks for joining us this morning. This is a live video. If you are joining this video late, this is a live video that other people are going to be joining us here on the chat. And so that's always fun. But as always, my goal is to make these live videos really focused on making sure you get lots of information. And so I did try these new libraries. I tried Jamendo, Infinity, The Music Case, Music Bay, and Yummy Sounds. And then, as I said in the beginning, and as I said in that video, I joined Content ID through Identifyy.com. And so how did that all turn out? How did it move the needle in stock music income? Did it move the needle in stock music income? Well, the answer is no, 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 yes, and yes, respectively. So there is a clearer answer. So let's get to that. But before we get to that, and this little trinket here, by the way, if you don't know what this is a Twinkie. It is a Twinkie cake by Hostess. This is not an ad, but I just happen to have this. And it fit the kind of yummy aspect of this video. Plus, I needed something to make a good thumbnail with. But before I talk all about stock music, this wouldn't be a stock music licensing video if I didn't mention my free course on stock music, or at least on Pond 5 and uploading to Pond 5. A lot of you want to get started in licensing. And I get probably this is the first thing that people ask me. How do I get started? I don't even know where to start. And while I don't think that Pond 5 is going to make anyone rich, it's making someone money, I'm sure. And it makes me a little, but I think it is a great place to start your licensing journey. It's a great place to put stuff up, try the marketplace, see what happens. You can know that from my video which I will put up here, called Starting with Pawn 5. You should check that video out. It's a great way to get started with your licensing. But I have I just think that's the best way to get started. So I made a little quick and easy course that just shows you how to get your stuff up onto Pawn 5 once you've joined it. And so you can find that at makemusicincome.com/Pawn5, and that it will be down in the description of this video, that you can go to that link. It's in the description of all my videos, and you can find it down below in the videos. The other thing we have to talk about, if we're talking about stock music, we have to talk about my first ebook that I put out called The Stock Market. And it's basically a guide to go and find all the stock markets, the stock marketplaces, the stock libraries that are out there, and my thoughts on them, and which ones you should start with, Pawn 5, and which ones you should try, Motion Array, and some that you can't try, like Audio Jungle. Someone just asked me today, what do I do? I can't get an Audio Jungle. How do I get around that? And unfortunately, there's no way around that I know right now. They are just closed. But it does talk about all the ones, including these today. And I'll have to update it soon to give a little bit of background, more background on these new libraries that I'm going to talk about today. But if you haven't downloaded the stock market, it's not very expensive. You can find it down below, as with every other thing that we offer, which is all the other free things that we do, including my free ebook, 50 Ways to Make Music Income. All that's below in the description. All right, let's move on now to attacking each of these libraries and eventually attacking this Hostess Twinkie. I know that everyone who is tuning in for the event of the Hostess Twinkie eating. That will happen. There will be a Hostess Twinkie eaten in this video. So let's move on to the libraries that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about some things that have happened to me over the past I don't know, week and a half that have been kind of crazy, including COVID, including a lightning strike. So stay tuned for that, because I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit. I will also, as usual, eventually go through in this video and put in all the little time stamps where you can go to each of these things I'm going to talk about. You can't do that on live videos right away, so it might be tomorrow or the next day. But if you're watching this later, if you're catching this on a rebroadcast, you'll be able to follow those timestamps and just look at the stuff that you're interested in. But you might as well just hang out with me here and just enjoy a Twinkie and a nice cup of tea. There's no reason for you to click around on the video. What else you got to do? Seriously. I mean, just chill, get a nice cup of tea, put this on long play, put this on your TV, sit back and watch YouTube like the rest of us do, and just enjoy. All right, so let's attack these new libraries that I have gotten into, and let me talk about them a little bit. First one I want to talk about is Jamendo. Now, Jamendo is a library I heard some people talking about last year, and so I decided to try it. Now, I have to say from the get-go, this is the one I've put the least number of songs on, because this is the one that is the most intensive for uploading new songs. It's not some crazy amount of work like Song Trader or Audio Sparks, where you have to spend 15 to 20 minutes per song going through every screen and putting a lot of stuff in. It's not that at all. But it's way more than others, especially some of these other ones I'm going to talk about. And as you know, as I talked about earlier, and I talked about earlier this year in my video, I'm not spending hours upon hours putting stuff up to stock music if I'm only going to make a certain amount per month. And that, even though I might make more than others, I certainly make less than others. But even if I make $200 or $300 a month, that only limits how much time I can spend with, when I have other jobs that bring in 10 to 15 to 20 times that income a month. So I have to spend my time on those things. I have to spend my time on my teaching job. I have to spend my time on my clients and on work that comes in that brings a good amount of money. So I've talked about those kind of incomes on other videos, but uh, as you know, I am very passionate about lots of different kinds of music incomes, and so stock is only one of those. And if it doesn't bring in enough, it doesn't get the hours that the others that bring in more get. That's just the way it works for me. So, but with Jamendo, you have to do a few things. You have to make a 3,000 by 3,000 image, which is one of my bugaboos about online stores and things like that at Spotify. You have to upload. Some of them make you upload a 3,000 by 3,000 pixel image, which I think is ridiculous for the postage stamp size they're going to show online. That should be a full screen uh, image at 3,000 by 3,000. What you're watching now is only most likely 1920 by 1080, unless you're watching it in high res. I don't even know if this is going to go out in high res. And so, it's kind of crazy that they need a 3,000 by 3,000 image. They also want ISRC codes at Jamendo. They want more information. So I've uploaded 20 or 30 songs there, but I've only completed about 15 or 16 songs. And at the first of the year, I was really focusing on my more contemporary type things for these videos and these stock music, these new stock music libraries, and not just loading up the dump truck and dumping everything in like I usually do. And so I just haven't finished putting enough up to Jamendo to make a difference, probably, or move the needle there. So yes, every place seems to require a 3,000 by 3,000 picture. It's a little ridiculous for unless you are printing. And I've even had some of them require a 3,000 by 3,000 by 300 DPI piece of art, which is just totally ridiculous. You barely need that to print. I don't even know if you need that to print an actual picture. Hey, Arco, thanks for joining. Glad you're here. Thanks to everybody who's here today. We're going through all of the libraries that I've joined this month and talking about them a little bit. And right now we're on Jamendo. And as I said, I have limited the amount of time I spend on stock music libraries this year and focusing it more on teaching where I make more money and focusing on my clients where I make way more income, and on sync licensing, which is where I hope to make more income down the line. Adil Constantine, hello. Thanks for joining us today. All right, we're getting up there in terms of people. So we're talking about Jamendo, and I really can't say. I mean, I've made nothing. I've made 0 sales, and they work in a couple different ways. And you can use them for to get your stuff out to Content ID. You can use them for a couple different things. I don't use them for that. But so far, it's been about 7 months with them, 0 sales. But again, very few uploads. And when I say few, I mean only 15 or 16. I really don't expect a library to make me anything until I have 50 songs on there. 30 to 50, I think, is where you can start to see the needle at least move. There should be at least something. If you have 50 plus songs on a stock music library, you should start to see something, I would think. And so until I do, I don't double down on that particular library. That's just my way I do things. So Jamendo right now is about, because I have like 100 or more actual songs and over 200, approaching 250 files. I don't do a lot of cut downs like other people do. And so I don't have as many files as most people do. I just don't have the time, and I haven't seen them sell for me. So I have not done a lot of cut downs other than loops, and sometimes a drum and bass version. If I feel like it might be a cool version, I'll make it. But I don't make 30s, 60s, stuff like that. Just don't do it. Love 3, speaking of Jamendo, says, on Jamendo, you have a lot of free downloads on your tracks, but no sales. Yes, that is agreed. Um, and and Adil says, what's your strategy for uploading? Do you upload what you have, or do you target specific themes? I kind of upload what I have. I know there are other people, and like my friend Stevie B, who is my podcast partner, he would say he is very focused in uploading a certain kind of music that he thinks does well on stock. And that's probably not a bad way to go. And I know a lot of you will do things to make sure that you are getting people the music that they want to use behind their YouTube videos. I tend to go the other way. I tend to just dump all that stuff in there. I've talked about it before. I tend to just upload what I have and let the chips fall where they may. I kind of made a promise to myself when I got into licensing 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe it's 5, 6 years ago, that I was really going to focus on the songs that I make, that I like to make, and I was going to put them up. And if they work, great. If they don't work, great. But I am only going to play the game so much. Now, you are probably going to make more money if you play the game. When you work for a client and you do exactly what the client wants, you get paid. When you work for a client and you don't do exactly what the client wants, you do not get paid sometimes. So that's why I've always, and Arco says corporate music always does well in stock. Yeah. And that's why I don't do a ton of corporate. I do have some thoughts of another corporate song right now. Um, Lucas says, I have more than 1,500 free downloads. Goodness. And I hope that someone used them for Content ID. Yeah, that's kind of my strategy this year. And I'll talk about Audio Jungle and Pond 5 towards the end here when I talk about what I'm doing with them. Hey, Daydreams. Good to see you. I kind of do the same thing. To me, it's more about quantity and quality. Although that may change, and that's down the list here. All right, let me move on to another library that I started this year in 2020, and that is called Infinity Music. Now, this is absolutely the easiest library to load stuff onto. You literally upload the song and put a title, and you are done. It supposedly does everything else as far as the everything it does to the songs, as far as tagging them and all those kind of things. Um, as far as I know, I have 41 songs up there. They don't take everything, and as yet after 7 full months, I have no sales of any kind. I don't really have much more to say about this library. I wish it brought sales. And so probably what I should do is just keep loading stuff up that I haven't loaded there yet and just see what happens in the load it all up and dump truck mentality that I have. I should probably just do that. But I do put all my new stuff there that I put out. And we'll see. Hopefully that moves the needle one day because it's such a lovely experience. You go to the site, you upload the song, and you leave the site. There's nothing more that you have to do. And it's, yeah, automated metadata as far as I know. How they do it, why they do it, I don't know. But it is easy to work with. And, it takes very, very limited effort. So it's just part of the strategy. It's an easy one to upload to. You might as well and see what happens. But you know what? It's not even, there was that thing called Music Grid that we were all on and nobody made anything. And they weren't easy. I mean, it took a screen or two to get through with that one. So that was probably time worse spent. But if I only have to upload a file to Infinity Music and possibly make some dollars down the line, and that's all I have to do, hey, why not? It's just a quick upload. You'll find that in Infinity Music. I'll put the links of all these libraries down in the bottom of this video once I start to fill all that in. So you can go try all these libraries, and you can also find them in my stock market ebook that you can find down below too. So if you want all the addresses to all the libraries of all that the stock libraries that I know about, you can find that in the stock market, and that ebook is down below. All right, let's move on to Music Bay. Now, this is another library that I'd heard some people making some money on. Um, like I said, I did a thing at the end of the year last year. Where did you make? What were the top 3 libraries you had, or something like that? And so a few people had mentioned this thing called Music Bay. It's in France. Um, this is a bit of a strange one. Um, you upload a zip and a document with the zip with all the info that they ask for, which is the description and the metadata and stuff. And you kind of give them an upload sheet. It's very odd, and but I've and so far I only have about 11 songs up there because they keep closing. They are currently closed to submissions until August 15th, saying enjoy the holidays. Now, I'm not sure what holidays they're talking about. Maybe that means 4th of July or whatever, but happy holidays. But obviously, no sales there yet. Again, with only 11 songs on a library, you can't expect very much. I am a firm believer that Stevie B works in a different way. He works on songs much more carefully and then puts a smaller number up. A lot of us work the other way. We dump everything into libraries that we make and just see what happens. So anyway, so that is we've talked about Jamendo, we've talked about Infinity Music, we've talked about the Music Case, we've talked about Music Bay. Oh, we haven't talked about Music Case. Let's talk about the Music Case. Kind of skipped over this one. The Music Case is a pretty similar story to Infinity. I have no sales there yet, but I do have 74 files up, and I really like uploading to the Music Case. Actually, it's very similar to uploading to VFine Music now, the new VFine Music, which doesn't do anything. Apparently, there's no sales there, but it is easy to upload, including edits, because you can put the main song there, and then you can put its edits very quickly, very nicely. I really like working with the Music Case. I wish I had a sale there, but so far it's an open and shut case, the Music Case. See what I did there? All right, let's see what the people are saying in the chat here. Holidays, they mean summer vacation. Yes, for you Europeans, a holiday, enjoy your holiday. So maybe since they are in France, that's exactly likely what it means, Cedric. Thank you. Oleg says, hi from Ukraine. Hello, Oleg. How are you doing? Infinity Music, how should I name items here artistically on MA or generally like on Audio Jungle? I don't know if it matters. I've been pretty much just doing the name that I use on Motion Array and Pond 5, which is the actual song name. Don't know if it makes a difference. Again, I don't have that many sales there. I do have 41 songs up there, but haven't seen a sale yet, so of any kind. But also on the Music Case, I've seen no sales. Music Bay, no sales. So holiday means vacation for some and holiday for others, right? I get that. So finally, let's get to the yummy. I mean, we are half an hour or more into this thing. It's time to get to Yummy Sounds. This is the funniest library that I signed up for this year, and it's run by a guy named Paul, and he is a really good communicator. But I have to just kind of open this Twinkie now and say that cheers to Paul and to Yummy Sounds, because I've received 2 payments from Yummy Sounds. So here we go. Yummy. And this is why I got the Twinkie, because Yummy Sounds actually has sent me money right to my PayPal account for May and June. So it's also a little odd and different in the way that you upload. You don't just upload to the site. He takes songs in zip files. You just send him a zip file and he puts them in himself. I guess he does all his stuff. I can't remember. I don't think I do anything other than just upload the zip file to him. But yeah, that's the way it works. He takes the songs, puts them in himself. I just sent another batch. Hope to have about 100. So if is this making you hungry? Is my Twinkie making you hungry? I don't know if I've ever eaten anything online. And luckily, I have my screen protector, so you can't see my food. But yes. Now, what I make from Yummy Sounds, actually, it's very close to probably what I make on Pond 5 or Audio Jungle now, especially since I sell stuff so cheap on there a lot of times. Yummy. The Twinkie is no more. The Twinkie is gone. So, yummy. Thank you, Yummy. And thank you, Paul. It's been a yummy experience so far. So, it's about $20 or $30 a month or so I've been getting in May and June. I haven't seen one for July yet. Maybe I didn't make anything for July. So that's my experience with Yummy Sounds. Again, if somebody just needs me to send them 86 songs in a zip file, they put them up. Also, I believe they do some other things. Let's see what people are saying in the comments here. Oleg says, I submitted to Yummy a month ago. No answer yet. Yeah, give them a while. It wasn't right away that I was accepted. But once I was, it's been a very good experience as far as I can remember. And I have started it, but it did take probably 5 months or so before I started to see return and payments. ISO says, Eric, do you ever upload stems to these stock music sites or just full songs? I'm kind of a full songs guy, never stems, not to stock music. They don't deserve stems. They don't deserve all that time that you would spend making stems. Sync libraries deserve stems because they're going to be putting these in TV and film and things like that. But I think if you have a loop version of a song, you should put that up. I think if you have another version of the song, maybe it's a song that's got an irritating instrument like a guitar solo or something in it, you could probably do a version with no guitar. If it's a vocal song, you definitely want to put a song up without the vocal on it. But otherwise, that's what I put on these stock music sites. I just did a new song, a jazz song yesterday that I uploaded. I didn't even do any kind of other edits to it. I just put that up. And really the people I know that are making the most money, and when I say the people, I mean Stevie B. He's just uploading one song. I don't think he's uploading lots of versions. Now, I may be wrong about that. And if he is on here or listening today, he can go ahead and tell me that. But I think it's not worth it for stock. You've got to be very careful with the time that you put in. Cedric says, is Yummy PRO CID okay? As far as I know, I am not doing anything on stock anymore that is anything but non-exclusive. So, and non-exclusive is something that I want to talk about in a future video about completely being non-exclusive outside of the sync library, exclusive libraries I work with. Even them, I have started to pull some stuff back out of that. And I have several sync libraries that I might pull some stuff out once my 3-year or whatever year commitment with them is done. If they haven't done anything, especially if they haven't done anything with it, I'm going to pull it right back and put it in my non-exclusive. But PRO or CID, okay, yes, as far as I know, and got no pushback on that. Cedric says, now, this is now my first question for every library. It has to be PRO and CID compatible. Otherwise, not for me. Yes, Cedric, I agree with this 100%. If they do not allow me to put stuff up to PRO, if they do not let me monetize on CID on the back end on Content ID, I am not being part of that library. Unless it is a library that's going to offer something up front, or it is a reputable sync licensing library that I know I could get placements around the world, and it's an exclusive deal, that's a different thing. But otherwise, yeah, I am also not doing anything with any library, especially on stock music, that I can't put my BMI information in and put my content ID information in. So I agree with you there. ISO says, I want to pump out a bunch of songs and upload them, not worrying about stems. Well, you should. I definitely think you should do it. And Oliver says, I'm actually emailing Paul right now. Hope I get good sales there. Well, good. Paul's a great guy. And he's been very communicative with me. And I mean, not like we don't trade emails all day long. You don't want to bother these people. But he has been very helpful. So I hope he gets some more good composers. Marcus Hager says, hey, Eric, good to see you. I tried twice Yummy Sounds, but got no response. Well, that's going to be the case a lot of times with a lot of libraries. You're going to get responses sometimes, and you're not going to get responses sometimes. You've got to be prepared to play the long game on all of this. It's going to be the same thing with sync libraries. It's going to be the same thing with music publishers. It's going to be the same thing with record labels. You are going to have to keep trying. You're going to have to keep getting better and putting better stuff up on these libraries, and keep trying again. Maybe not every week, but keep them on your list if you're interested. At some point, you have to just say, I'm going to pause. I'm going to stop. I'm going to not try that library anymore. I did this with Music Case a year or two ago. I was trying to get on them with my initial libraries, and they just never responded. And then when I decided to do a bunch of new libraries at the beginning of this year, I tried them again. I got in. So you just never know. So make sure that you are always retrying them, maybe 6 months later, a year later, something like that. Somebody said earlier something I wanted to point out here. Who said something about, Daydream said, sometimes I get the impression that there are some dead libraries. And I asked myself why items sell on one library was really great, and on other libraries, nothing, not a zero. Well, you just have different people searching different libraries in different parts of the world for different reasons. And this is one of the things that people talk about in licensing in general all the time. And that is that, you just can't expect everybody to find your songs. It doesn't work that way. I know you love them. I know you put them out there. I know one library, it seems they work on, and then other libraries, it seems they don't. I've had lots of downloads on Motion Array for one song, and then on Audio Jungle, it's got 0, or Pond 5, it's got 0, or other places. That's just the search engine of those libraries. Someone has to go in there and hunt for what they're looking for, and for whatever reason, your music is not being searched, or that particular songs are not being searched on that library. So I don't think there is any mystical, magical, or nefarious reason why your music is not being accepted or found on a library where it is in other libraries. I saw Arco say something. I don't know if We Get Artist is stock library. Now, I assume you mean We Get Artist. Don't they also do Music Supervisor Pro? Is that who We Get Artist is? I have not had any movement on Music Supervisor Pro. I've had a few songs like saved or something, but no sales or anything there as far as I know yet. Let's see. Lucas says, lately, having changed target audience on the sites where I publish, they always request the stem mixes of the songs. Wow. The only thing I can say about that, Luca, is if they are paying you, if you are making money with this library and you feel like it is worth it to you to spend the time making the stems to send them, then yeah, if it's something that they're paying you to do, if you put in that thought that they are paying you and you are getting your music, it's monetized. So maybe the stems are worth it. That's the only way I would say stems in stock libraries are worth it, is some stock library is paying you to do stuff and they want stems, and or you are making great sales, then heck yeah, do what they need as long as you are making money. But otherwise, I ain't spending that time on that if I'm not making any money there. All right. So let's move on to Content ID. Now, this is not the end all be all special. Stevie and I are going to both do a Content ID special later this year when we both get paid, because neither of us have been paid yet for any Content ID stuff. But this was another thing that I decided to try and add to my non-exclusive stock music exploits this year. And so far, I'm glad I did, because there's going to be a multi-$100 payout at some point this year, mainly thanks to just one video. This is the way Content ID works. One video that features a Halloween song that I did last year. Had a lot of fun doing an album I called Hallowmas, which was like Halloween treatments of Christmas songs. I'm going to probably add to it this season coming up. But this was a version of Jingle Bells in a minor key that I did. And currently a video that's using it, it's a very creepy video. It's got all sorts of spiders and bugs and stuff in it. But it has 600 to 700,000 views and is currently bringing in about $70 to $100 per month with those views to my Content ID. And whenever my payday comes, there's a payday 3 months down the line or something like that. I will get paid for all of those views and all of that stuff. I make 70% through Identifyy.com, is who Steve and I decided to mutually, well, we both signed up with them separately, but yeah, they are paying something so far. I've been lucky that a video that someone is not monetizing, I get the money for it. So I'm the only song in the video, and it's a 3-minute video or more. And it just continues to go viral, and it's probably on its way to 1 million views. And so that doesn't bring in millions of dollars, but it does bring in, it's going to bring in hundreds of dollars this year, at least, maybe 300 or 400 by the time I get paid. So, yeah, this will work. And this was the thought behind, who knows where they got that song, whether they got it from Motion Array for, I don't know, as part of their monthly payment to Motion Array. And I basically got paid 30 cents or 25 cents or whatever it is I got paid. Or maybe they got it at Pond5 or Audio Jungle for some price, I don't know. Or maybe they got it illegally. Either way, Content ID is working as the net that is catching unmonetized videos using my music. So this is a very important kind of thing. So so far I'm very happy, and not necessarily seeing any adverse effects of being a Content ID collector. I know that I was scared last year with Motion Array. I didn't want to mess with my Motion Array sales. This year doesn't really matter, because the downloads and income from Motion Array has been lower. Steve doesn't worry about all of that. So yeah, Content ID is working, and I'm going to keep throwing that stuff in there. And it's another reason why when we'll talk about Motion Array and Pond5 and Audio Jungle and pricing strategies, why I don't care about pricing strategies as much on most things anymore, because this could happen on the back end. Let's look at what some people are saying about Content ID here. Cedric says, so you get money from this creepy video because the author forgot to dispute the claim. Yes, absolutely. It's overseas. It's some Asian country, because I can't read the language, but I can tell from the title and the Asian type of language there that it's overseas somewhere. I don't know where. And so yeah, I just I upload, actually you can upload MP3s too. It doesn't really matter if it's a WAV or MP3. I probably upload WAVs, but and some metadata, but they're really just using the sound file to identify the song. And I don't know if a WAV is better than an MP3 for that or not. Yes, Simon says to, I mean, Cedric, Simon says, Cedric says to Arco, who's asking how to get into Identifyy, you just sign up and then you send them WAV files and a tiny little bit of metadata. Not much. It takes 10 seconds to put something up there. Cedric says Content ID is really worth it. If not for the money, it's nice to see how and where your music is used. Absolutely. And the beautiful thing with this, which relates to ISO's question, how much does Content ID cost to set up per track? Nothing. With Identifyy, they take 30% of whatever they collect. So on $100, they're going to take $30. You're going to make 70. But that's my kind of service where I don't have to do anything, especially in a simple situation like Identifyy is, where you just upload the songs to there, you put on a few bit of a bit of metadata, and then you are protected in case somebody uses it and does not monetize it, and then you just get the money. And like PROs, it takes a while. If you don't get paid in a certain quarter enough, you don't get paid till the next quarter. So I don't know when my payday is maybe September or October, but it's going to be $200-300 or more, maybe 400. And so that's going to be a nice Christmas bonus, a little bit, you could say. So happy so far that I joined Content ID, and we'll see what happens with that. But I'm very happy so far. And so you should be doing this. It's not going to hurt you, and it will protect you against illegal people using your songs. It will protect you against people buying your songs for cheapo, because you've done cheapo $5 pricing on Pond 5 or Audio Jungle like I have. And so you don't have to worry about it because you can make money on the back end. Now, if they go ahead and get a license through and get it whitelisted and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to make anything. But so far, so good with Content ID. All right, let's move on. Elsewise, Oleg says, Identifyy haven't sent me a payment of 30 of July. They said that my funds were blocked and they are waiting to return to send me. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, Oleg. I know that for you guys that are in the Slavic states, the Russia, Ukraine area, it's going to be kind of crazy with that kind of stuff. So I'm so sorry to hear that. And I haven't gotten a check yet, so who knows if I will get one on time, how that's going to work. Isomatic says, is it good practice to also upload these Content ID'd stock library songs to Spotify and other streaming platforms? I do. I upload everything. Non-exclusive means I can do anything I want with it. I can license it anywhere, not to an exclusive library, but I can put it on Spotify. I can put it on a YouTube video of my own. I can put it up anywhere. So all my Content ID stuff is non-exclusive. And so if anybody snags it off Spotify or off YouTube or Apple or anything like that and uses it on their video, I'll be paid through Content ID. But no, dude, I am putting everything. I should say I need to be putting everything on my Spotify for all my brands. And I may have to just go ahead and do this as albums because I am not doing very good at releasing them as singles. That's the plan. I'm just not doing very good at it. Jedi says, how do I get started with producing stock music? My music always sounds the same also. Well, those are some loaded questions. There's videos on this channel, and there's other people who talk about producing stock music, like my friend Stevie B of the Production Music Academy. You need to check him out on our podcast and check out his Production Music Academy. Might be a good start to help you with those questions, Jedi. Arco says some distribution services register songs to their own Content ID. I don't. Oh, I see what you say. What that's an option, Arco. They don't do it automatically unless you tell them to. I don't recommend letting CD Baby or DistroKid register your stuff to Content ID. First of all, it's an extra price on DistroKid yearly, and they take a percentage out. And I just don't think they do a good job at it. I think it's a minor little thing that they do. And I think that I would much rather trust a bulldog like Identifyy to really go out and get that stuff. So, yeah. Hey, Signature, thank you. Yes, all is well. Let me just take a little break here and talk about my week this in the past week. I have I got COVID about a week and a half ago. Started showing signs about 2 weeks ago, actually, and it was no fun. It Luckily I was completely vaccinated and boosted, and so I only had 1 day of really, like, being down with the flu. It felt like the flu to me. It didn't feel like anything else other than the flu. I know what the flu feels like. I can't do anything except lay on the couch. The next day, though, the after having the flu for a day, I did go back to work because I took a COVID test and I was negative. I went back to work. Then that was only 1 day, and then it was the weekend, and sometime during the weekend, I lost my taste and my smell. Took another COVID test, and I was positive. So, yeah, that has been an adventure. But I'm happy to say that through the week it got better. And then at the end of the week, I got my taste back. And then on Sunday, I tested completely negative. So we are still dealing with it here in the house. So hopefully, everybody it has is getting going to be better and back together and here in the house. We also had a lightning strike about a week and a half ago that took out my one of the breakers in our house. And one of the things it took out was I don't have it here, I don't think, was both of my USB hubs. And one of the USB hubs had my music audio interface plugged into it, and that was fried as well. So luckily, that's all that was fried. And yes, Cedric, thank you. I am feeling better. Um, yeah, it just happens. These things happen. And also in the past week, I finished and said goodbye last night to my class at the school I teach at. They're moving on to the next level at the school, and I will get a new class next week at this time. I'll have a whole new class, but it's been a crazy week for me. The good news is I did get a brand new interface, and I will probably be doing a little review of that because I really like it. And it may actually allow me to do music reviews again right directly through YouTube, because I think doing lives through YouTube is better than doing them online on whatever streaming service I was trying to use. I think the quality is better when I do a direct YouTube like this. And I think this, I'm still testing it, but I think this software is going to allow me to do music reviews. When I do them, I will be doing them on my other site, on my composer site. We will be doing them specifically about composing things. So stay tuned for that. I'll be talking about it very soon. All right, let me catch up on some things here that people have asked. Maka says, I uploaded 5 tracks on Identifyy. One of them was used in a video that already had 30 million views before I registered it with Identifyy, so I lost 8 to 10K. Yes, Stevie B also had something like this happen, and I probably missed the first 400,000 views of the video that I have a song on as well, because I didn't register until February. So I know how that feels. Jedi says, do I need YouTube subscribers to register my music on YouTube and make money off of it? No, this is a different thing. This is not, Content ID does not have to do with your YouTube channel. It has to do with other people's YouTube channel. Unless your YouTube channel makes a lot of money and makes a lot of views, I guess maybe your music could be used. I'm not sure if that's the way it works, though. It's more about your songs being used on someone else's YouTube video and them paying you for that use. So that's the answer there, Jedi. I hope that helps. Micah says, I've got a couple hundred views for the views it had after payday is October 30th. Maybe that. Oh, that will be my next one too. So that's a while, but sounds like Christmas money to me. Oleg says, never seen anything from BMI. I had some broadcast sales years ago. When do they make reports? They give reports every 3 months, every quarter. And you do. I've really only seen a lot of BMI money when I had radio sales or radio play on a jazz song or songs. Otherwise, it's really gone down for me. Now, hopefully BMI sales are going to be pick up for me when some of these shows that my songs are on in Germany and other places, if they report and I get some of that writer's income on BMI. So we will see about that. But hopefully that's going to be the case with BMI income. You've got to do something that BMI collects, and BMI collects mainly from radio performances in on stage at concert halls and sometimes even at bars and things like that. And then they collect from television play. So if your music is used in a television show and it's reported correctly and reported back to BMI, you should see income from BMI. But that's the main way you do it. I don't think you're going to see any BMI income from stock music. So unless something is used on a big TV show or commercial or something, I don't think you're going to see income from BMI from stock if that's what you're planning. Cedric says, "Are you sure this check was stolen?" I missed where it was stolen. Yes, if a user licenses your song in the correct way, including getting rights to monetize it, and you're not going to get paid by Content ID. So that is true. Simon says, "Happy to see you're feeling better." Thank you. I am feeling better. So happy to be here talking with you today. We still got a little bit to talk about here. I've got an interesting motion array tip, and I want to get to it. So this is literally just in this morning. Yesterday, I was looking at, as I do every day. I try to every day. It seems like somehow they slip by me. I go by the motion array when I check what's up with motion array, which is very depressing most days. But when I motion array, I will go to the motion array requests. What briefs are they looking for? I'm not sure how many of you have done this, but I do this and every day. And it will say this request is open. You can submit songs to this request. And then eventually it will say it's completed. And when I saw that word completed, what I just imagined was that that they were closed, and they show the clips there that were accepted for that particular pitch or brief. Well, what I learned is that, guess what? Guess what? Complete doesn't mean done. Complete doesn't mean it's over. And yes, Cedric, I think I saw you talk about this on Discord, that motion array requests don't close, especially I think right after they're done. Because remember, they are doing a request in order to find something that a client has asked for, as far as I know. But so yesterday I decided to go ahead and upload 3 songs. I actually was going to upload 5, but I only uploaded 3. I wasn't sure if they would take them or what. Well, this morning I woke up to 2 acceptances of the 3 songs. They are accepted and they are in the motion array library after 1 day. Gotta love motion array requests. So yeah, let's see. Cedric says completed, quote unquote, just means there is at least 1 submission. So the request poster has at least 1 answer to his request. The thing I don't know is how much time they are open. Yeah, I don't know if you can go back to a request that was open a month ago and put something up to it and get stuff accepted. That might be something to try. I don't know. But you definitely can post new songs to request once they are completed. I don't know. Maybe they removed the button at some point to submit songs to it. I don't know. It seems like they did that before. I can't remember. But I think I was still in the submission window of when they were looking for songs of that. But this is good information to know, because you want to get your songs up quickly to motion array. There's so many benefits of it. Number 1, you get your song up in a day. Number 2, you get the possibility of a special payment at the end, or kind of a reward payment of $150 if one of your songs gets used. I think, I don't know how it works, but I've gotten it several times, which is cool, especially now with Motion Array. Cedric has a lot to say about this. A while ago, they were clearly stating the end date for each request. Right. I agree. And they don't seem to be doing that anymore. Shane, thanks for joining us, says, does Motion Array work like Taxi or have fewer requests? They have fewer requests because they also are requesting all the other things that they sell as downloads on Motion Array, like artwork or templates or video clips or things like that. So music requests only come along once or twice a week tops, and they are pretty time sensitive usually. So, but there's no entry fee. There is no yearly cost. You don't have to pay Motion Array a yearly fee to be on them, and you don't have to pay them a $5 fee every time you pitch to their briefs. So great brief to pitch to, I think. As long as you are a Motion Array member, you have to be a Motion Array member. Oliver says, I can't still decide if I should use Identifyy. That would mean a reduction in income for some libraries. I don't know if it's worth it for me right now. Oliver, I know your fear here, but I guess it depends on how much you are making. If you are talking about Motion Array or Pond5 or Audio Jungle and thinking that someone is going to not click on your file because it's a content ID marked file, I'm not sure if that wisdom holds up as much in 2022 as it may have in years past. This was why I didn't join last year. But so far, I haven't seen it change much. And I know Stevie B, who regularly makes $2,000 on Motion Array from time to time, maybe more, with a very limited amount of songs. He's putting content ID. He's putting those songs on content ID. And so they are still getting selected and still getting used. And he is still making big money, bigger money than most of us on Motion Array, and with content ID in there. And so like I said, stock now is a lower priority game for me. I do these videos because I know it is the only game for some people. And so I talk about, just like I do with everything on this channel, I talk about what I know and what I do. And so that's what I know about all of this. So I have a new plan that I want to talk about that's similar to Stevie B's plan, and we may talk about it in our podcast this week, which is basically a plan for all my non-exclusive music and to probably focus more on non-exclusive music. I'll share that in an upcoming video, possibly in our podcast this coming week, the next week. But I can tell you that I am not currently planning to change my attack on stock music, my low priority status for the work that I do on stock. I just don't think it's worth it. I'll continue to talk about it. I still feel if you have songs that are not exclusive, you should dump them in stock. If you're just getting your feet wet with licensing, you should start with Pond5 and put your stuff on there and try to get a feel for licensing. Try to get on Motion Array, maybe Yummy Sounds. You can get into things like vFine, and you can get into things like the Music Case, and you can get into other ones. But as I've talked about here, those really don't pay me. I've got other videos. I'll try to remember to put a link up here to it. If not, you can go find it on the channel. It's basically my mid-year stock licensing report where I talk about exactly all what's paid me this year. And there's another report at the first of this year where I talk about what paid me last year. I show you the numbers. I show you which libraries actually paid me. Now, that's not the ones that are going to pay you. But for me, I don't have time anymore to upload to Dreamstime or Deposit Photos or any of these other ones that don't ever pay me. I just do not have the time to put into them. I have incomes that are 10 times what my income from, or 20 times what my income is from stock music. So I just can't afford the time personally. Let's see here. Hollywood, thanks for joining us, says, do you also send your songs to non-exclusive sync libraries? TuneEdge, Crucial. Absolutely. I don't know about, I haven't done TuneEdge, but Crucial I have 4 or 5 with. and I have several pending. As you know, if you know anything about Crucial Music, it could take up to 2 months to hear back from the 3 songs at a time that you're able to put up, and I've got 4 or 5 songs up there now on Crucial. I can't say anything has happened from that, but I plan to continue to approach Crucial as a very important non-exclusive library. I know people who have done well there. So, yes, the answer is absolutely yes. And that's what I'm talking about with non-exclusive. I'll also just give a little quick update, and I'm almost done here, about Pond5 and Audio Jungle and my pricing strategy there. Hey, with Motion Array only paying me, if I break it down, anywhere somewhere under 50 cents, somewhere from 25 cents to 50 cents a song, if I get on level 3 or 4, per download. I have to think about that as, okay, maybe I got 200 or 300 downloads in a month, and maybe that might bring in some possible money down the line with Content ID. That's about the best you can hope for, because you're just not going to get the amount of money for Motion Array that used to get. But that just makes me think about Pond5 and Audio Jungle, and the fact that when I go to the best sellers there, they're all $5. And people can also get a subscription package to Pond5 now, and they can get a subscription package to Audio Jungle or Envato Elements. So they're getting less likely to pay $50 for a song. I don't care what anybody else says. I don't care what my friend Daniel says. He's in a different category he might have clientele that's used to paying for his songs in that way, but he's also on Envato Elements, FYI, and makes good money there. So I just don't think that I am going to continue to put everything on Pond5 and Audio Jungle at $50. Now, what I will be doing is, as I work harder on higher end non-exclusive music, those might be a higher price tag. But anything that I just create in here, and for the absolute purpose of putting on stock music, I'm not going to worry too much about the pricing. It'll go up and down. Pond5 makes it really easy to price and reprice your stuff. I'm seeing more daily Pond5 things at $5 and Audio Jungle sales at $5 than I see with everything at 50. And for me, I have to weigh, do I get one sale per month for $50, which I'll make $18 for, or something like that? Or do I just take and only have one download that's possible for Content ID, against getting 10 to 20 downloads from Pond5 and making about the same at Pond5 or Audio Jungle? So if it's $20 is all I'm going to make for one sale a month at a high price on these libraries, why not put stuff down on that? Yes, Tony, I'm making money on Pond5. I should get a nice $25 to $30, $40 check in August from Pond5. Audio Jungle, I'm still in the $30 range. You got to get up to $50 for that. But yeah. So now, if and Oleg, I understand. He says no sales for 2 months on Pond5 after changes there, and I take it you mean putting stuff down to $5. And Cedric says the same joke we hear about Beats selling since 2008, when you see people complaining the market is overcrowded. Well, let me know in the comments. Do you guys put everything at $5, or do you put it at $50 or somewhere in between? Do you do $25? What are you doing there, and are you seeing sales? I would love to do some kind of I could probably do this on one of my polls online on YouTube. But Cedric says he never went the $5 route. I'm kind of now going the different routes with different songs. So if it's older stuff, and I don't think that it's going to be something that is necessarily going to be licensed, I will put it at $5. If it's holidays and it's certain kind of holiday songs, I'll put those up to higher price, and usually we'll reap rewards from that. That's the way and then my newer stuff I will put at a higher price, and my higher produced stuff where I produce it in Nashville or with other players and things like that, that will also usually be higher priced, and will always probably stay higher priced. Cedric says he never went the $5 route. Hollywood says I have some at $5 and $25, depends on the genre. Todd says I lowered to Pawn 5 to $5 and have seen an increase in sales. Cedric says I am still at $47, but for some songs I lower my prices. Oliver says I put all my songs at $10 on Pawn 5 and my sales increased. Walt says I go from $5 to $15 with not many sales, but that's okay. I've got more to upload. Great. Thank you for those comments. This is the kind of if anyone else, Cedric, what kind of monthly sales do you see at $47 or your lower prices? Would love to know. He says the thing is I don't want people to associate the name to cheap $5 songs. If one day I want to go back in the beat selling game, I need to keep prices high enough. Yeah, Tony, agree. Good info from everyone there. When you say beat selling, I'm considering getting. I started with BeatStars last month just to throw some things up there, and I have plans to do a few of the free accounts on with some different of my brands. So that is something I'll be exploring in a future video. BeatStars and beat selling, and it's another thing that we'll see. Cedric says I've lowered to $25 to $42 and seeing from $60 to $150 last few months. Well, that's great. Are you a long timer on Audio Jungle, Cedric, or relatively new? That's a question I would have for you, because that seems to be the people who were doing it years ago still seem to be able to keep their prices high versus people who are just getting into it. It seems they have to charge lower prices to see more sales. So yes, a few years on Audio Jungle, and yeah, I guess in December I'll be approaching 2 years on Audio Jungle, but I still feel like I missed the boat on Audio Jungle. I think at that time it changed, but I'm 5 years. Yeah. See, 5 years ago, I think it was a totally different game on Audio Jungle. And I think authors who got in 5 to 10 years ago on Audio Jungle probably are somehow there's just some kind of mojo for older Audio Jungle authors, I think. Yeah. 2013, 10 years ago was probably the best time to be in this stuff. Tony Thomas says Pawn 5 music subscriptions are $2.50 to $3 a song, and you get 30% of that. Cool. Cedric said he remembers in 2018, people were already saying it is the end, Audio Jungle is dead, etc. Well, it's not dead. And as my partner on my podcast proves, it's certainly not dead. Motion Array itself and Artlist, which I think are basically the only two he does. I know he has some stuff on Audio Jungle. He makes a good yearly living on those, but he also produces very high quality stuff. I tend to crank out, I won't call it crap, but I crank out stuff that I think sounds fine and I'll put it up there. But it's not the level of the stuff that I produce in Nashville with other players and things like that. That stuff is the stuff that I get signed to exclusive sync libraries, and it's very higher end. So, all right. Well, as I continue to talk to you about all of this kind of stuff and non-exclusive and dumping them in and out of stock or whatever, I will share more about my non-exclusive plan coming up. I think I'm going to make some changes to that. I think there's going to be a better plan for making music for me personally. And so stay tuned and subscribed, and we will talk about that very soon. I'm going to kind of talk about my new plan. Again, we may talk about it in this week's podcast. So stay tuned and watch our podcast, listen to our podcast. I just posted, remember, a full length video, or I should say audio podcast today of my complete conversation with Jesse Josephson of syncmymusic.com. So if you're interested in sync licensing, listen to that on the podcast. It's up now. And if you're getting with stock, check out all my videos down below and ebooks and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Cedric, thank you so much. I really wanted to be live with everybody today. I felt a little disconnected from the community, and I wanted to talk about all these things and eat a Twinkie and say thanks to Paul for yummy sounds and talk about content ID. Shane, hey, my pleasure. Been great to hang out with you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. Tony, thanks so much, man. Everybody, just thanks for being here. Luca from the very start, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. Hope you make some great music today and find some new libraries to get on. And Walt, thank you. Oliver, thank you. I really appreciate all of you hanging out through this whole thing and supporting this channel, supporting me. Missed talking to you guys last week, but always trying to just put new information out there that can help people. So thanks so much, everybody, for hanging through this whole thing. Hope you enjoyed a lovely warm beverage and maybe something sweet like a cupcake or the Hostess Twinkie or something like that. Cedric, high five. Signature music, thanks, cheers, and everybody have a great day. We'll see you. I'm going to end the stream. Make sure you check out all the links below and have a great day. Thanks, Oleg. Be careful in Ukraine. We're praying for you. Hope you guys do win and end that war soon. Thanks, everybody, for joining and being here today. And we will see you next time on the next video. So stay tuned. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye.